An unidentified victim challenges the forensic skills of a renowned criminalist.
The blood deposit left a perfect imprint.
Located next to an Air Force base in northeast Delaware, the peaceful community of Dover was stunned when 3 garbage bags filled with decomposing body parts were discovered in 3 different areas around the state capitol. The victims' hands were never recovered, so there were no fingerprints. DNA testing was not yet standardized, so investigators feared they might not be able to establish the most important piece of information in a homicide case: the victim's identity. As a blood specialist, Dr. Lee was one of a handful of forensic scientists who could extract information from the blood residue in dead tissue. In his examination, Dr. Lee was able to detect a critical identifying marker: the victim's blood type. Christy Shipley told police she and Bill sometimes quarreled, and he often went off for days at a time to cool down. Bill's wife claimed she wasn't worried about him. Her husband always came home, eventually. But when detectives learned Bill Shipley's blood type was O, they decided it was possible he was the victim. They collected some items from the home that might help with the identification. Another link was discovered in the house: a baseball cap.
So they took the baseball hat, which had some of Bill's hairs. They used those as the known hairs, and they compared them to the hairs that they find on these decaying body parts in these 3 bags, and show that, yes, microscopically, they're similar.
At the Shipley home, Detective Shaner and Dr. Lee began to reconstruct the case.
When you walk in the house, you would see just a plain mattress with nothing on it. Upon flipping over the mattress, there's a hole that's been cut up with scissors. There's blood soaked and drenched down into the mattress and all down into the box springs.
The investigators found the size of the stain suspicious. Dr. Lee and Tim Paulbach ran a series of tests to determine both the age of the blood and how much of it the mattress had absorbed. In preparation for their evidentiary report, Dr. Lee and Major Tim Paulbach performed a test in the lab comparing 1 cc, 10 cc's, 100 cc's, and 500 cc's of blood to see how a similar mattress would absorb the different amounts. Dr. Lee and Tim Paulbach continued the experiment with each vial, checking the absorption pattern different amounts would make.
On 1 to 10 cc. 10 cc, that's a lot of blood. It's a substantial count. 100 cc, that's a major count.
Dr. Lee also looked at an isoenzyme called PGM that fresh blood contains. At room temperature, PGM disappears from blood at a known rate over a period of time. In the blood sample taken from the mattress, the PGM levels were still high.
So we know this blood is much fresher than what she claimed, 8 years old.
Although there was no sign of blood in any area of the house except the bedroom, the police suspected that Christy Shipley had dragged the body down to the basement. Dr. Lee and Tim Paulbach used luminol to test for blood on the floor, but both blood and bleach produce similar reactions in the presence of luminol. The floor will glow in the dark, as it did in this case.
So what likely happened was, even if there had been blood, there was a very significant cleanup, and the cleanup unfortunately contained bleach.
The police discovered more clues in the house that pointed to Christy Shipley. A box of bullets found in the closet that matched the bullet taken from the body. An unusual combination of deodorizer and insecticide pads in a kitchen drawer like those found with the body parts. They also found more of the same kind of commercial garbage bags that were used to dispose of the body. Christy Shipley was arrested for the murder of her husband, Bill. The prosecution based their entire case against Christy Shipley on the forensic and circumstantial evidence. Christy Shipley's defense could not stand up to the overwhelming evidence against her. The bullets, the hair samples, the deodorizer and insecticide pads, the garbage bags, and most of all, the blood on the mattress, all pointed to the same conclusion. Christy Shipley was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole.